Albuquerque's police department. That's what a lot of people hope the Department of Justice investigation released last week will end up doing.
But a national expert on troubled police departments is worried about the APD response.
Policing is the government of the poor.
On special assignment last night, we spoke to a straight-talking New Yorker who was once Robert F. Kennedy's speechwriter, Adam Walensky. He and his nonprofit organization have trained thousands of officers from 30 different states on their conduct and connection with the community. Walensky won't comment on APD's problems because he doesn't know the department well enough, but he knows about federal monitors overseeing changes.
The monitor is not going to fix the Albuquerque Police Department. Of that, I'm absolutely certain. Unless you can get something close to the full participation and cooperation of the sergeants and the officers, you're doomed to failure.
Now, the feds and city officials work to create the programs, but Walensky says it's the officers who have the most contact with the community who need to lead the change in culture. To see the whole story, go to KRQE.com. Meanwhile, death threats against officers are popping up across Albuquerque.
These are definitely disturbing, and so is how they are being delivered. Some folks who picked up a copy of the Albuquerque Journal last weekend found this flyer inside. It reads, "Save a life, kill a cop." Most flyers are found inside these newspaper stands along Central near the UNM campus, but some were also found plastered on light poles. In fact, one newspaper with the flyer inside was even delivered to an officer's home. The Journal is investigating and calls this, quote, vandalism of its property. Well, the city's independent review officer is defending her work this morning after the Department of Justice called her out, specifically saying she was too friendly with the police department. City pays independent review officer Robin Hammer to investigate cases of officers misbehaving. The Department of Justice went after her in its report, saying, quote, "From our review, it appears that the review officer is more closely aligned with the department than with the community that the review officer serves."
Do you feel that you are too closely aligned to do your job effectively?
No, certainly not, because the facts and the standard operating procedures are what govern what I make my findings based upon a full independent investigation of all of the facts.
Ms. Hammer says she came on board in late 2012 and was only on the job for 4 months of the 3 years the Department of Justice reviewed. Now, so you know, right now the mayor is the one who hires this independent review officer, but 2 city councilors want to give that responsibility to the Police Oversight Commission.
Now, they are the civilian group that polices the police. The councilors are talking about increasing the POC budget and giving it the power to hire staff, access internal affairs files, and force the police chief to respond in writing to any recommendation he denies. The task force chair says it's a good start.
We made some very sweeping recommendations to create a new independent agency with its own staff and its own budget and expanded powers. And most of that's been met. There's some things that we want to see strengthened even further, but overall, it's a very good start.
The proposals are expected to come up at next week's city council meeting. The feds also came down on the POC in their report, saying the group has no teeth. Now, one of the things that the Justice Department wants Albuquerque cops to stop doing is shooting at moving vehicles. The feds say the risks are obvious. If an officer fires at a moving vehicle and misses, they could hit an innocent person or leave the driver dead with the car moving out of control. They say modern policing policies eliminate shooting at vehicles. That would be a big change for APD. But even if that does happen, a lot of other New Mexico police departments will still allow it. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department says firing at a vehicle is a last resort and a supervisor has to authorize it. State police say they can't shoot, but there has to be an imminent threat. None of the agencies wanted to comment.
5:05, a very disturbing story this morning. A woman in Albuquerque admits to beating up her boyfriend's 2-year-old daughter. Police rushed out to this home in the South Valley on Sunday after Ashley Montano called 911 saying the girl was not responding. Now, at first, Montano told police she saw the child fall off a bed. Investigators later say Montano admitted hitting the little girl and throwing her on the floor several times because the child was having a temper tantrum. The 2-year-old's brain was bleeding. She had to have emergency surgery to try to save her life. Montano is now charged with child abuse resulting in great bodily injury. And on a different note, some good economic news. Internet giant Google is buying Titan Aerospace in Moriarty. Titan develops high-flying solar-powered drones that can fly for as long as 5 years straight. Google wants the drones to bring internet access to remote parts of the world. About 30 people work for Titan in Moriarty, but with a factory plan next to the airport, that will be a-changing.
I think that there'll be a lot more high-end jobs as far as research development, and then once the manufacturing operation gets on board, once they get the facility built, we're probably talking, 100, 200 jobs.
Google isn't saying how much it paid for the company now, but Google's rival Facebook was in talks to buy Titan, but later bought a solar drone company out of Britain. All right, if you fly a lot and you want to get through airport security faster, listen to this. The TSA now has a pre-check application center here in Albuquerque. It's off Carlisle near Candelaria. You can make an appointment to go there and you get screened so you can get through the airport faster. Get all the details at our website, krqe.com. Click on links. Crystal?
Water planning, development, and use here in the drought-stricken desert is the topic of a town hall meeting today and tomorrow. The meeting is sponsored by New Mexico First. It's happening at the Marriott Pyramid North in the Pyramid Ballroom from 8:30 to 5 on both days.